stream anytime, anywhere with the free PBS app.
When Walt Disney's widow announced that she would help pay for a new classical music hall for Los Angeles, many expected a conservative building. The architect says the Disney family's own lawyer requested traditional touches, like brass handrails.
So I put more brass handrails in than was necessary for that guy. And I brought him over here and I said, "Is that enough brass handrails for you?"
Today, Frank Gehry is arguably America's most acclaimed living architect, known for building splashy cultural institutions around the world. But back in 1988, he was a long shot in the competition to design this concert hall in his own hometown.
It was the least likeliest thing that I thought would ever happen to me in my life.
You see, at the time, Gehry was known for his funky, low-budget buildings, made with the kinds of materials you'd never find in a classical music hall, like plywood, raw sheet metal, and chain-link fence.
Nobody had ever trusted him with a large public building or a large budget before.
So when Gehry entered the competition to design the Walt Disney Concert Hall, he says that Disney family lawyer had a word with him.
He informed me that under no circumstances would Walt Disney's name be on any building that I designed.
Undeterred, he entered with a design that was inspired by the populist spirit of Walt Disney himself. While a classical music venue could end up feeling stuffy and elitist, Gehry wanted this one to be inviting and accessible.
I always thought Walt Disney stood for creativity. I never thought that I was going to make Mickey Mouse and things all over the place. It was that design that caught Mrs. Disney's eye.
Frank Gehry got the job.
I couldn't believe it.
But because of a long string of financial and political problems, it would be another 15 years before he could finish the building. Gehry used the time to take his winning entry and extensively redesign it from the inside out.
My notion was that there's a box.
Working with an acoustical consultant, Gehry found that a box-shaped hall would produce the best sound.
Like that.
But within the confines of that container, he wanted to figure out how to create an intimate relationship between the audience and the orchestra.
Instead of seeing the back of people's heads, you're looking at faces. The faces of the audience, the faces of the orchestra. That's what he wanted. But the acoustician says it's got to be a box. So he's wriggling within the box.
Gehry's solution was to build this sculptural saddle-shaped seating deck in which the audience completely envelops the orchestra.
That feeling does change the way the orchestra plays.
Because they feel it.
They feel this. And when they play better, these guys respond better and these guys play better. So it's that.
The billowing shapes are echoed on the outside in stainless steel. They're inspired by Gehry's love of sailing. These sails form a wrapper around the building, which masks its more mundane inner workings.
Well, the building's a box.
Yeah.
And I put the toilets and elevators on each side.
But the outside of the building, you don't necessarily see that.
Well, see that wall, those two walls? They're against the box. And all I did was tweak the corner. And so once I did that, then the next level down, I did the same.
In other places, the architect says the shapes relate to the building's neighbors, including the old music hall across the street.
That happened by accident.
This building's highly complex forms couldn't have been made in the era before computers. Frank Gehry's office has transformed the architecture business with its use of software that was originally created to design fighter jets.
There's a whole lot of technology running around in what seems like whimsical shape making.
Frank Gehry's unique forms are rarely imitated by other architects. But his pioneering technology and daring spirit have offered us a new model for how to create successful public buildings using adventuresome architecture.
I think Frank Gehry has changed architecture. Disney Hall liberates the spirits of everybody who walks by it, and I think in the same way, this has liberated architects to be bold.